Hello aspirants, our next topic is how to amend the constitution. So constitutional amendments are how to amend the constitution. So in the first class itself we have discussed about what is a constitution. So constitution ante enti anedi manam first class lo chusam. It is a rule book, it is a set of basic principles as to how to govern the state ni various levels of government ni ela govern cheyali ane danni మనం కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్లో కొన్ని రూల్స్ పెట్టుకొని చేసాం. సో దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్. అండ్ ఫర్దర్ we also know that the constitution, Indian constitution is an organic document or a living document. It is an organic living document. Organic means living. It is not a inorganic or dead document. So it's a living document means just like a living organism, it tries to modify itself, it tries to change itself, it evolves. So it evolves. So essential characteristic of living beings means evolution. It evolves. So which means this is Indian constitution is not a rigid one, it is relatively flexible one. It's a flexible one which is open for amendments, which is open for changes and amendments according to the changing time and space. Changing time ki according to the requirements of the day, changes society lo vachina changes ni reflect avdaniki constitution kuda amend avdaniki ready ga undi. It is open for amendment. It is not a rigid document which stays like that forever. So దీన్ని అమెండ్ చేయొచ్చు కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్. దేర్ఫోర్ వీ కెన్ అమెండ్ ద కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ అకార్డింగ్ టు ద రిక్వైర్మెంట్స్. మనకు అవసరం ఉంటే కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ని మిగతా డాక్యుమెంట్స్ని లాస్ని మార్చినట్టే కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ కూడా మార్చొచ్చు. సో ఆ ప్రాసెస్ ఎలా చేస్తాం అనేది చూద్దాం. సో కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ కెన్ బి అమెండెడ్ ఇన్ 2 ways. సో వాట్ ఆర్ దీస్ 2 ways? One thing is by invoking Article 368. By using Article 368 and not invoking Article 368. Without using Article 368 also we can amend. So we'll see how each thing works. ఈ రెండు ఎలా చేస్తాం, ఎలా ప్రాసెస్ ఎలా చేస్తారనేది చూద్దాం. సో నాట్ ఇన్వోకింగ్ ఆర్టికల్స్. సో కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఫ్లెక్సిబుల్ అని చూసాము. అందులో కొన్ని రిలేటివ్లీ the most important aspects untai, relatively unimportant. It is not that there is nothing unimportant in the constitution, but when compared to the most important, there are certain trivial and simple issues. Vaatini amend cheyadaniki you don't need to invoke or use Article 368. They are simple and trivial aspects, trivial matters. Vaatini chala easy ga without invoking Article 368 we can amend the constitution. What are those matters, trivial matters? Like the matters involved in the part 1 of the constitution. What is part 1 of the constitution? It talks about Indian Union. So states and union territories, the changes of the boundaries, alteration of the boundaries and names. We can change the names of the states, we can create new states. So all of them can be done. So if we do that, then we can change we have to amend the constitution. Appudu kuda constitution marchali. Kani you don't need to invoke the Article 368. Without invoking Article 368 you can amend these simple and trivial matters. Manam vaatini simple ga marcheyochu. So with using simple majority in the parliament, both houses using simple majority use cheskoni manam constitution amend cheyochu without invoking article. So these are non 368 amendments. There are other amendments. మన కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్లో రిలేటివ్గా ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఆస్పెక్ట్స్ని అమెండ్ చేయాలంటే మాత్రం వీ హ్యావ్ టు ఇన్వోక్ Article 368. సో కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ అమెండ్ చేసే ప్రాసెస్ ఎలా అమెండ్ చేయాలనేది కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్లోనే ఉంది. ఎందులో ఉంది? Article 368లో మెన్షన్ చేయబడి ఉంది. ఇట్ వాజ్ మెన్షన్డ్ ఇన్ ద Article 368. హౌ టు అమెండ్ ద కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ అనే ప్రాసెస్ ఇట్ వాజ్ మెన్షన్డ్ ఇన్ the constitution itself under Article 368. Under this there are 2 categories again. So there are 2 categories. What are those? One thing is federal matters. Federal matters means those matters which involve the relationships between center and states. So center states related matters aithe what you can do. So here you have to use special majority. Special majority is called two-third majority. Two-third majority. Not only two-third majority in both houses of the parliament, but also we require the majority in more than half of the states. At least half of the states. Means 50% of the states, state assemblies, 50% of the state assemblies also have to ratify that particular amendment of the constitution. 50% states kuda ratify chesi central lo kuda 2/3 special majority tho adi approve aithe, then that federal matters will be treated as a constitutional amendment. Otherwise it is not. So at the same time there is other matter which is not federal matters. They are relatively other important matters. There are other important matters but which are not federal in nature. They are what federal matters kadu, but there are several number of other important matters within the constitution. If you have to amend them, this also requires special majority. Special majority means two-third majority. Two-third majority, but only at the parliament level. In both houses of the parliament, states' consent is not required. Why states' consent is not required? Because they are not federal matters. There is no role of the states here. So certain matters, other important matters like fundamental rights. If the state wants to amend any of the fundamental rights, we know earlier right to property was a fundamental right, but now it is not. It was a constitutional right. It moved from the fundamental rights to some other somewhere else. So it is if the state wants to amend fundamental rights, it can do so. So this comes under other matters. If you want to amend fundamental rights, it can also be done by invoking Article 368. So essentially there are two kinds. One thing is by not invoking Article 368, they are simple and trivial matters. There are relatively important matters for which you have to invoke Article 368. So indulo federal matters, non-federal matters untai. So federal matters ki 2/3 majority plus 50% states consent kavali. Other federal matters ki 2/3 special majority required. This is the process of amending constitution, and in the next class we will see various kinds of majority, simple majority, special majority. We will discuss in the next class. Then you will better appreciate the very process of amending the constitution. Okay, thank you.